out and get it. And 2 days later it comes along and you're like, you know what? I could have my stuff by now if I had just pulled the stupid trigger on Amazon.
If I just did it.
And knowing this, I still don't change my behavior. I don't know what's wrong with me.
No, I didn't. And clearly I should have learned my lesson on this because that is, I don't know if it comes through on the camera, but that
was on the kitchen floor?
This is on the kitchen floor. The kitchen floor did this to this foam.
Do you have linoleum or do you have actual like
I have
tile?
actual
It's
tile.
cement.
I've actually it's a cement floor. I live in a warehouse. Oh, that's what happened.
You know, in Portland, that's
That's probably the cool thing to do. It's
a lot.
It probably is. That's my third phone this year, by the way, so I don't think I'm going to spend my money on the iPhone. But I should maybe learn my lesson. Hello, everyone. This is Trends with Benefits. Thanks for hopping over and watching us. If you followed us on Facebook, we do this show weekly here where we gather a roundtable of experts to talk about the tech topics of the day. Apple being, of course, one of the biggest topics that we're going to be getting into, how not to drop your phone, and then we're going to kind of cover some PlayStation news and some other things that we have happening going on right now. We want to hear your comments. We want to know what you think, what you want to talk about. So if you're watching live, hop in there, give us what you want to talk about, tell us your thoughts, your opinions, tell us if we're wrong or right, and we'll go from there. But let's introduce the cast of characters here. I'm your host, Greg Nibbler, and to my right...
My name is Rick Stella. I'm a staff writer here for DT.
Excellent. And back from Germany.
Yeah, I'm still jet lagged. Caleb Dennison,
Yeah.
senior editor of All Things Amazing.
Still, you've been back for what, 3 days now? Something like that?
Yeah, we got back Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
So it's been not quite 48 hours, I guess, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Time warp. I don't even know where I am right now.
For people who were watching last week, I believe you were noted as our special listener who was in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
comment.
We have a few
Yes.
special listeners.
we were sitting down eating sushi at this Asian place that we managed to find in Germany, and we just decided, like, oh, the podcast is going. Let's chime in. So, yeah, I can't believe that's been a week, but that was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting us give you a hard time.
Oh, no, that was great. It was awesome. All right, and on the end.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Juanita.
Hello, Ryan Juanita.
I'm a person.
You are a person with
Yep.
thoughts
I'm a
and
thing.
things.
Yep.
It's true. All right.
Who may or may not work here. You might have just walked in. Who knows?
Hard to say.
All right. So let's get down to this. So Apple, of course, we all know about the big announcement that came out yesterday, and we just had a big discussion about one of the main things that we kind of knew was going to happen. I mean, there were enough leaks and rumors that we were pretty sure it was going to happen, and sure enough, it did happen, and that was that they got rid of the headphone jack. So no longer do they have that. You have to use it's the lightning, what would the official term be? The lightning cable?
Lightning port.
Lightning port. Okay, so you have to use the lightning port to use headphones. And
It's a jack.
It's a jack.
Connection.
The connection. The lightning connection. The lightning jack. Whatever you want to
The
say.
input. Can we
is
keep
not the
going
same
with
as
this?
the
Yeah, right.
Come on,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody go through.
We can
Yeah,
figure
who
out
doesn't
what-
get it has to leave.
Lightning jack sounds like an express breakfast you get at Denny's.
Hit one lightning jack, please.
And you're embarrassed to tell anyone you did
Yeah,
it
right.
afterwards.
It's better than Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity, but
Yeah, right.
still. Anyway.
So the lightning jack now takes the place of the headphone jack, and this seems to be one of the most controversial things they've had for a while. There are people that are very pro it, and there are people that are very, very much against it and want to be able to use their old headphones. And this is the kind of where we were going from this. I know you guys all have opinions on it. Caleb, you wrote a big article that's at digitaltrends.com right now, his opinion piece about this. Maybe we should start with you giving your general opinion of this.
Yeah, well, so I try to be as fair and balanced in issuing my opinion as possible because I do think that there is something to the idea of pressing forward and going with wireless and improving wireless connections and what have you. I just think that Apple's decision is too much and too soon. Apple characterized the decision as courageous, and I think maybe a more apt description would be gamble. I think that they're alienating a lot of people, and that the solutions they have in place are really janky, for lack of a better term. So their answer to everybody who says, "Hey, what about the headphones I own now? I don't want to have to go buy anything new. I really like these, and not just because I own them, but because they sound better than any of this wireless stuff I could go get."
Yeah.
What about me? And Apple's response was, well, here's a little lightning to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack dongle, that you attach to your phone. And my three objections to the dongle are, number one, dongle.
Yeah.
I hate that term.
That's a
But
term.
no, you're
It's
really
like dander. That's also a terrible term.
You're
Moist.
dangling something from your phone. right? Number two, it precludes you from charging your phone while you're listening to music, which for me it does not work at all, especially while I'm like on a flight or something. You know what I mean? And number three is the dongle is impractical for most people because it's going to fall out. If you use like a charging battery, on the go, you put it in your jacket. Guess what? You're not charging 10 minutes later because there's not enough strength in this connection to keep the lightning jack or the lightning cable from popping out of the port or jack if you prefer. So I think that's a really, it's not a sexy, it's not very Apple. It's like they threw it in there because they're like, oh crap, people are going to be pissed at us. We better come up with something. So they came up with that solution. I think it's a bad solution. Also, there is some arguments to make about forcing people to adopt this Apple-only tech because I think Ryan should explain this. There's a special chip inside. It's not Bluetooth. It's called the W1, and that's what handles all the wireless stuff.
Well, yeah, I actually still don't know if it's Bluetooth or not. What we do know is that it's a special chip, and it also corresponds to the chips inside the AirPods, and it sends some sort of wireless signal to both or either one. And so that's really cool. It's a low energy chip, so that's really cool. It's supposed to be better at keeping them connected, which is a major problem that I've had with a lot of the fully autonomous earbuds that have come out. So that's also interesting. But, of course, you get 5 hours of charge on these. The case will give you 24 hours of charge. So that's definitely something, but
you got to stop.
Once they're out, they're out. Yeah, you have to pull them out and charge them, And I don't think we know how long it's going to charge, but an average on these kind of earbuds is about 2 hours. So once you're out, you're out. Now you can carry your Lightning ones with you, I guess. I mean, there's just, as he said, it's like if they were going to do this, they should have probably waited until the technology was a little bit more high quality as far as the audio is concerned, at least on my side of the table, and B, probably have bundled their new amazing wireless earbuds with it.
Right.
Or offered both.
Yeah, but
or either or.
Isn't that a hallmark of Apple, though, to make a new product and then make you buy everything from them, whether it's good or not?
I'm actually surprised they didn't. I'm surprised they included the dongle. Frankly, I thought that they were going to make us buy that.
I bet that was probably a later decision.
I did predict that they were going to include it because I feel like if they wouldn't have, it was just going to be pandemonium.
Right.
But again, that's not a very, generous solution when you're pulling something, from your loyal fan base of millions and millions of people.
Sure.
And let's also say that this is not just a random choice. Like, I want to buy an iPhone. It's pretty cool. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe next year I'll try an LG. When you make this choice, especially when you make this choice with Apple, you are essentially held hostage inside the Apple system, especially if you have a Mac computer, which again works the same way, sort of holding you hostage. All of your stuff is connected in all these integral ways, which is cool. But then if you want to pull out one of those pieces, it all falls, apart like a house of cards.
It's like Jenga for technology.
It's
I want to know what Rick wants.
Stacked on itself.
I want to know what Rick thinks because as the youngest person in this room by a significant margin, not to date the rest of us, but
I don't think I'm too much younger than Ryan.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think you are. Ryan's 55 years old.
Oh, well. Like I said, I'm not too much younger than Ryan.
but I mean, what's your take on this, man?
Well, for one, I think just with the Bluetooth headphones, they'd be really easy to lose. They're too expensive. I think you can spend $150 on headphones, on Bluetooth headphones in better places. And I think the same way with you. If I'm on a plane, I'm charging my phone, and I'm listening to music, I don't want to have to sacrifice one or the other. Just to either listen to music through the Lightning port or put a dongle in. It sort of rubs me the wrong way. I like my iPhone 6. I like the jack in there for my headphones, and I don't think I would want to go out and try to buy something that was Bluetooth just for the sake of buying it for Bluetooth to open up a port. So, and I'm not as much of a audiophile as I'm sure Ryan is with this, but it still goes along the same thing. I still want it to be accessible and efficient without costing anything extra out of my pocket. So I think they made a weird move, and I'm the same way too. I wish it's curious they didn't do it when the technology was better and that more people could be on board with it. Because as we said earlier, that they sort of leaked the info as a sort of a public beta test, and a lot of people said that they didn't want that, and it almost got to the point where people were like, "There's no way they're going to do that," and they still did.
Do you think maybe they just felt pressure to do something different because they're Apple and they had to get something out there? They also had, ostensibly the Galaxy Note 7 and some other things that were coming out there. RIP to that. That's terrible. But it turns out they don't have competition there.
I know. Can we say that this is like LG's time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Time to rise up.
Apple is making people angry. Samsung's phones are exploding.
Right.
Banned from flights now. And
LG just came out with the V20, which is really impressing people.
Can I answer your question, though? The answer is no.
You don't think so?
This was not. I don't think this has anything to do with being different.
Okay.
I think that's a ruse. The whole courage thing. Yes, maybe it took some bravery to do something so.
Calling your move courageous. That's kind of.
And not only that, but he said, comes down to one word. Courage.
But you got
Phil Schiller, no way. No. Here's the thing: it's a cash grab, okay? Because number one, licensing.
People say I'm very courageous. I don't say it.
People tell me that. That's what people
Here
are
in the
saying.
streets, who knows? Yeah.
Just me though, not the rest of the Apple team. No, it's a cash grab. The Lightning, anything Lightning connected has to be licensed by Apple. All right.
Yeah.
So you've got all of these, headphone companies that are going to need to pivot and provide products that will work for them. They're going to have to pay for that licensing. They're also going to have to, do a complete redesign, and they're faced with coming up with an A and B version for every SKU they manufacture. I know I'm getting into manufacturer speak right now, but if you've ever had to make a product and get it manufactured in China and get the tooling and all that other stuff to do this, then it's a really expensive, elaborate process. And I know that big companies like JBL, they'll manage just fine. It's the little guys. Like we have a buddy who owns Think Sound headphones. They make these really cool wood covered in-ear headphones.
Yeah.
And a guy like Aaron over there at Think Sound has to do a lot in order to play this game with Apple, and it's going to be hard for them. That's my other objection. But before we wear this topic out, I also want to play devil's advocate and see what other people think about this. I mean, we are going to see some cool headphones coming out. And from an audio quality perspective, when you take the iPhone out of the loop for the sound quality and you put it in the hands of the headphone makers, because before, for people who don't understand, you've got to have a digital analog converter, which converts the digital file to analog so they can go out that headphone jack.
Right.
And you have to provide a headphone amplifier. And both of those have a huge impact on the sound quality. Now, those things won't be in the loop. The headphone manufacturers will have to put it in line or in the headphones themselves. And the ones who like to make really great sounding headphones, they're going to have control over that. And so we will get some better sounding headphones out of this. We already have, right?
And we saw that with Audaz's Sign headphones, which came up with last year at CES. Well, technically this year, but January at CES, they came out with their new Lightning connection to their Sign headphones. They also added it to their EL8, both of which are amazing planar magnetic headphones. And I actually talked to their CEO about it, and this was before we had so many rumors, and his contention was it wasn't really about the Apple thing at all. It was about what they can do with digital. It was about their ability to do more with digital, more features. You could add EQs. And they built, their little DAC and their amplifier right in there, and you do get a better quality signal from the Sign headphones with the Lightning connection. But again,
Jesse commenting that pretty much said exactly what you just said. Yeah, about the Lightning cable.
Well, these are guys who
for
gave best
more of a
headphones
transfer.
at CES.
Yeah, and the innovation is great, and we're going to see this innovation. But the question is, shouldn't we have a choice about this innovation? I guess that's my
Do you
point.
do you see them ever coming back to it, or are they running from this forever?
Well, I mean, I don't
Apple
think you can go
come
back.
right?
Right.
Well,
That'd
next
be a
year they're
complete
obviously coming out with a
redesign.
7S, and they came out with like a smaller version of the 6 last year for people who didn't like the sizes. And I know that's a completely different thing to do to make a phone smaller, but I don't know. Do you think that they come out with a model that has a headphone jack for people who are
iPhone 7C.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're
Smaller,
not-
cheaper,
J,
and with your
the
precious
iPhone 7
headphone jack.
You know,
They're not in the business of, coming out with a different phone for every user. I mean, are they? They're about you conform to us. You come to Apple.
That's pretty much
we'll
their
show
whole
you
model.
what we
So-
have. It's going to be shiny and neat, and you're going to want it, and you come to us. Now that
And
was
you're
great.
going to use
when
it
they
how
were-
we want you to use it. You're
Yeah.
going to,
That was great when they were inventing the iPhone, and let's also say they've done a really good job of keeping their stuff secure by walling it off, right? I mean, how many Android scares have we had? 900 million phones are at risk or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a good point to it too. But at the same time, it's like you're just saying, come with us or don't come at all.
Yeah, you are stuck with what we want to give you. Well, so I am curious, like you guys were saying, what people think. So if you're watching via YouTube, please put your comments in there.
and who's all going to buy it too? Like, I'm curious to see what the pre-order numbers look like. Isn't it up for pre-order right now?
They
think
say
the
that
thing
they're
opened.
going to sell out. That's what they have said.
Yeah, well, that's
But do they
that's
manufacture
a very
less?
that's very courageous
For
of
whatever
them to
that's
say
worth.
that, yeah.
It's a pretty courageous thing to say. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Couldn't that have already been done while keeping the analog connection? Is what Kevin is saying.
Yeah, Kevin, we were kind of going over that earlier. That comes down to Apple's claim that they needed to reclaim some space in the headphone
Yeah.
to put more crazy tech in. And let's face it, that camera, if it delivers on the promises made, if it's not just a bunch of impressive specs and it actually takes amazing pictures, I mean, that's awesome. That camera's business looks really cool, especially in the 7 Plus. You know, like I said, I'm not anti-Apple, and I actually think that this decision is going to result in some really cool things. I just think it was too much too soon and alienating a broad section of the public.
Yeah.
That seems like a bad call, even for Apple.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're going to make the change, you got to make it at some point. You know, and you're going to have backlash no matter what when you change up something standard that everybody expects and has been used to for years and years and years. But we'll see how it works out.
I'll also just say real quick, I'm really anxious to see if the AirPods are as consistent as they say.
Yeah.
What they sound like, how well they work, because if they work perfectly the way that they say they do, that's going to be something that very few manufacturers of that kind of technology have come up with so far.
Right.
They could
but
be
still
the
only
industry
5
leader
hours.
there.
5 hours of battery.
That's still industry leading. Just
Yeah,
about.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for
for
that
wireless.
It'd be
technology.
so easy to lose, though. They're separate.
Oh,
They're not,
yeah.
like, I don't
But
know.
that's the
I would lose
argument
them in a
always
second.
with the
I know.
autonomous buds. I mean,
Right.
either you can
Well,
hold
some of
on
them
to
are
your
so
crap or
strung
you
together.
can't hold on to your crap.
Exactly.
And also, they look like, as Nick Moke said, they look like golf tees hanging out of your ears. I
They
think
just
they're
cut the cord off.
I think they look like
cut the cord
little
off.
shower heads.
longer.
Right. Are they longer too? Yeah.
Longer. You're right. It looks like a Teledyne Waterpik.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that
Yeah, there
put
they
me
are
off
right
of them.
there.
All right. Yeah, we've got a video showing what those look like right now if you're watching on YouTube. So,
So
Out
sleek.
they come.
Yeah,
out they
I
come.
mean-
Still
Oh.
coming. Still coming unsheathed. Finally. There we go.
I mean, it's cool, but I'm just, I mean, I'm sure if they, I guess I wouldn't mind having wireless ones, but it's not that big of a deal to me. It's not that big of a deal for to deal with the wire on it. But I guess for a lot of people it would be. So that's kind of what we'll see is how good those things actually are. Well, let's hit up a couple of other things that came out of this Apple announcement.
Please say PlayStation.
Okay, we're going to get to PlayStation.
okay,
Coming up
We're going to get to
next.
PlayStation. I want to talk about, though, the Apple Watch because I've actually been somebody who's not necessarily been a big fan of smartwatches. I don't see a whole lot of advantage for me. I haven't seen something that it would really interest me. But what they did, I haven't seen a lot of people commenting on it, but the combining with the Nike Plus actually gives it, to me, a whole new advantage and something that is pretty appealing to me, where I can combine, your regular Fitbit stuff, but a high-end, I had the old Nike Plus, and it actually was pretty good back then. But you combine that with the Apple Watch, you got it waterproof. You can do all these different things with it. It actually becomes a much more attractive option to me.
Does that
Up to
take
50
over?
meters.
Yeah,
too.
50
Underwater?
meters. Yeah, 50
Not
meters
bad.
underwater.
Does that take over their Apple Fitness app, or is it just integrated with Nike? It's
Well,
an
Nike
extra
Plus
thing.
is a completely separate.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what it's going to be just something else. Is not going to take over.
But the
their
fact of the
health
matter
thing.
is, I mean, the addition of GPS, I think, is the most notable thing because
GPS.
that's what held the watch back from being a fully autonomous fitness wearable. In addition to being, an accessory to your iPhone.
Yeah.
So now it can track where you're going, and you don't have to have your phone in tow. And even if you do have your phone in tow, it's not constantly, it's not using up the battery on your phone because GPS does, suck up a lot of battery life. And it's not making a constant communication with your phone in an effort to do that either, to feed you the information you want off the watch. So I think it's cool. I've been wearing the Fitbit Blaze for a while, and I like it because it's got it doesn't have GPS, unfortunately, but it does have a heart rate monitor. It's got a really great app, I think, for giving you useful feedback about your fitness or lack thereof. And
I like the sleep with the Fitbit Blaze. I like the sleep
sleep is the
monitoring.
best thing about
I don't
the
have it
Fitbit
on now,
Blaze.
but
And
I wore it for a while too.
And I don't know if Apple's going to be able to manage to do the sleep thing because you still have to charge it, once every
Right,
24
right.
hours.
Yeah.
And the most likely time for you to do that is while you're sleeping,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I think Apple made a step in the right direction, and I think it's a more appealing watch. I don't know if I'm going to buy one or not.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. But now I will say I'm considering it now, whereas before I wasn't.
Well,
That's
it's
the
more
same-
inclusive than for people who are kind of
Yeah.
on the edges and on the fringes of smartwatches.
And that's the same thing with me. Yeah, this makes it something. This actually makes it an option I would consider. Now, I mean, the price that's pretty high for it, but it does have everything that I would actually be interested in using with that. And
I look at it from
first
the
time.
point of view of like a triathlete, right? Adding the swimming capability, the waterproofing for swimming was, and they really were targeting swimmers. I thought they spent a lot of time.
Well, it's right after the Olympics. It's a good time to do that.
Yeah. I think, smart. Definitely a smart move on Apple's part.
Yeah, my thing is I don't care for any of that stuff, so I'm probably not their target at all.
Not the one. Yeah.
I don't want anything on my wrist telling me what I should be doing.
You need a beer drinking tracker.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, I know you got my text message.
I never want a robot to nag me. I don't want anyone to nag me, including a robot, and I don't want that to like go into the future. Like I don't know. I see like dystopian visions of
no good.
The government like having your Fitbit on and telling you, or what I don't know. I just don't like nagging.
You will move now.
Get your exercise.
Well, but the Pokemon Go aspect doesn't do it for you?
No, not that.
I don't think it would do it for anyone in here. Do you play Go?
No, and as a matter of fact,
I
was
call it
really
Go.
Go, yeah, it's for the cool
frustrated.
kids.
I went to
Actually never played
Disneyland
it.
recently, and people were doing more Pokemon Go playing than they were actually enjoying the park. Like, I was really, really disappointed about it. And what's worse is my daughter wanted to do it too. Her uncle, who's only 10, was there, and all he wanted to do was play Pokemon Go, and of course, all she wanted to do then was also play Pokemon Go. So I actually had to put a moratorium on it until the very last day of the
Pokemon
trip.
I mean, at
But
that point,
once she did pull it out, I could see the appeal because there were freaking Pokemon everywhere. Disneyland is a Pokemon-rich place, and yeah, but I mean, I feel like it ruins the park. Like, if you really want to see what Pokemon Go is doing to culture, to our society,
the youth of today,
it's all on display at Disneyland.
you may as well be in a parking lot at that point, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
Well, you kind of are, because you're just standing around waiting for something to happen.
Version of it where you're looking for the little creatures.
Yeah. Well, it is an aspect now, so we'll see if that drives sales, the Pokemon Go part for the Apple Watch. All right, let's move on to something else. Somebody else had a big announcement yesterday, maybe not as big as Apple's, but still, PlayStation had their annual meeting where they announced the new console that's going to be coming out, and we had long thought it was going to be the PlayStation Neo, was the name that we had kind of been attached to it. Where that originated from, I don't know, but it was a much better name than what they came up with, which is the PlayStation Pro, which comes out, I believe, November 10th is when this is going to be coming out. They've doubled some of they've doubled the ability of it to stream 4K. They didn't include an Ultra HD player or an Ultra Blu-ray player, but this is what they're coming out with. This is their big thing. The main thing that seems to be what they're going to be touting is the VR capabilities of it, adding that into the PlayStation and having that ability. Caleb, did you have some thoughts on this? I know you wanted to talk about PlayStation.
I just think I'm so confused by this product. Like, they say 4K with HDR gaming, and I was informed by our computing and gaming experts here that it's not true 4K. So it's probably going to be an upscaled gaming experience, and that makes me wonder whether or not the people writing, the games are creating the games, the game studios. That's what I'm trying to say.
There we go.
I'm not sure if they're going to be putting the actual, and I'm going to get nerdy here for a second, the HDR metadata necessary to get actual true HDR from an HDR capable 4K TV. There's only one way for a TV to do real HDR, and that's to put like a little signal embedded in the video signal that says, okay, I want you to make this area this bright and this area this dark. So, yes, it can stream 4K with HDR stuff from Netflix and Amazon and whatnot, just like the Xbox One S can. But what I think a lot of people were hoping for was actual 4K gameplay. That was supposed to be the big difference, and it sounds like it's not exactly doing that. And then, not including an Ultra HD Blu-ray player. I mean, we're talking about...
Wasn't that the point?
This is Sony.
How are we living in a world where Microsoft has an HDR 4K Blu-ray player, or
But
at least
Sony
4K?
doesn't.
I don't know if it's HDR, but Sony doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ultra HD Blu-ray by nature supports HDR.
Yeah, so there you go.
So but I think Sony, which helped create the Blu-ray in the first place back when it was, Blu-ray versus HD DVD,
Right.
for those of you who remember that.
I remember that.
You'd think they'd be on the forefront of this. In fact, they don't have a standalone Ultra HD Blu-ray player. They were really cold on that for a while. In fact, I remember talking to a Sony executive at CES once, and I cornered him. I was like, what's the deal? Are you guys going to make an Ultra HD Blu-ray player? And he was like, nope, streaming's the future. They're probably won't ever be another disc-based media, and then here we are, and we've got a lot of the major players are making one now. Not all of them, though, but I figured Sony, of all of them, Sony would do it, and I would definitely expect to see it in a PS4.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You buy that. It's not just your gaming. That's what you're watching television on. You're doing everything with the console now. Why not have that included in there? I mean, I guess
And remember
price-wise, sure, keep it down a little bit, but I think people would be willing to spend $25 more if that included adding that in. However much it would be. I mean,
remember when Xbox didn't have a Blu-ray player?
Yeah.
And PlayStation did. And now,
there we
it's
go.
reversed. It's
Yeah.
really kind of odd to me.
I will say I saw that Mike Epstein was at the event, our gaming editor, and he played one of the PlayStations and played in 4K. And he wrote an article today on DT that said seeing 4K gaming was like putting glasses on for the first time.
Wow.
So there's that. I mean, I know that it may not support so much 4K, but he at least feels like it's something that's like, for lack of a better word, game changing.
Even if
for
it's,
someone
I would
like
ask,
Sony.
but the thing is, I would ask Mike, how much 4K with HDR have you looked at?
Experienced?
I mean, the difference between Netflix's version of that and say an actual Ultra HD Blu-ray discs is like it's a very stark.
Like
difference.
the 4K Breaking Bad stream versus like, I don't know, one of your guys' HD Blu-rays or
Yeah, I mean, there's
completely different.
You can see the difference. The HDR makes all the difference in the world. But even when you go from streaming to a less compressed format like a disc, which I know is not popular, but I mean, if you're really into this stuff, you got to have it. Maybe Sony just figured it wasn't important enough. Maybe that's
there's
their
not enough
position.
people that care.
I've asked them straight up what the deal is, and I hope to find that out. Actually, we're going to another trade show next week, where Sony might unveil something like an Ultra HD Blu-ray player. So who knows, man?
Well, like you're saying, do you think they would think that their gamers really care or would know that much? Like, are gamers the ones that are synonymous with knowing what like really clear crystal picture is? Mm-hmm. And then if they say, hey, this plays 4K in any capacity, they're going to be like, holy cow, like this looks insane. Like, are they going to be ones with a discerning taste that can say, no, this is not clear 4K. This is ridiculous. Or they're just like, we can probably scoot one past our gaming community.
I don't know. I mean, most of the gamers I know really appreciate really crisp, clean graphics and renderings of buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
It adds to the realism.
Right.
You know what I mean? And high refresh rates. That they seem to dig that kind of stuff.
Well, and the other point is like PlayStation has always been above and beyond like the system, that is for entertainment. It's
Right.
Microsoft did that too. So, but PlayStation always used to make like, really high end processing and stuff. So it's interesting to see them not go the full way.
Not go all the way with that. Well, and we had a pretty in-depth discussion about this on our other show too, Close to the Metal, which you can find on Digital Trends YouTube page. So definitely go there. It's a big, long half-hour discussion kind of on what PlayStation unveiled and where maybe they're going versus PC gaming. What's the best advantage? Which one do you want to go with? So you can check that out. We're starting to run low on time, so I wanted to get to a couple other topics here really quick. Just, Caleb, you were at IFA over this last over for a week in Berlin, Germany, maybe more than that.
Yeah,
that is a while over there.
It was a haul,
and you guys came up with your best of IFA. I don't know if there's anything brief you wanted to talk about that, and just kind of hit how you came up with what you guys came up with.
Well, we do a rewards program at the end of all of these big shows, and IFA is definitely a big show. It's it's Europe's version of CES. And it's huge, and by some metrics, it's bigger than CES. But so anyway, we have an awards program, and each section editor is responsible for nominating something in their category. For me, that was an audio thing and a video thing, computing, mobile, wearables, cool tech, that kind of stuff. And we always end up gathering at the end of the show and discussing what our individual picks were. And then we usually have this very spirited debate about what should be considered for best in show. And the reason I bring this all up is because it kind of characterizes the show in a nutshell. And that is, meh. And it's not because we're jaded tech guys, right?
Right.
We go in there and
Which you are.
we totally are.
That's all true.
Yeah, it's totally true.
That's not the reason.
I'm jaded as hell. But the problem is there wasn't anything that had like tons of wow factor.
Yeah.
I mean, we ended up picking a Chinese manufacturer's like mid-level phone.
And that was the biggest
Doesn't
thing
that
that
sound
came out.
exciting? And I only nominated the video winner, a Philips OLED TV, because it was the only new TV shown at the show. Like, no new TVs except from Philips. In the audio category, it was kind of a toss-up. We did see some cool stuff there, but none of it was anything that we wanted to fight for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we did see some cool stuff. You go check out the award winners. I think that there's a Lenovo Yoga. It's got this glass screen that doubles as a touch keyboard and does all this other really cool stuff that we shouldn't get into now for the sake of time. But we did see a few cool things, but man, it was a lot of really strange, awkward press conferences, worse than usual, and a lot of like head-scratching products or just completely like underwhelming.
Really?
This particular year, and in IFA's past, we've hit. We've struck it rich. But I think we're kind of in a tech lull right now.
Yeah. Do you think that's a foreshadowing for what CES is going to be like?
I feel like it goes back and forth.
Yeah,
Like
which one's going to have
some CESs where it's like, well, this is all cool, but this all premiered at IFA.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like CES does a bunch of the premieres, and it just kind of, I don't know if it's back to back, like year to year or something, but
My understanding is that is intentional.
Yeah.
From having spoken to a couple of executive high up at major manufacturers, they have to pick and choose when they're pulling out the big guns, right?
Right.
They can't do it all the time, every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is definitely some back and forth. That's exactly what's going on. And so it was a little bit of a down year for IFA, and I think next year will be even better. I think that we're going to have seriously gangbuster CES this year, though.
Yeah. This will be the year where everybody's going to bring whatever they've got.
I think we'll see some surprising stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Maybe not in the world of TV. I'm out of luck, but there will be some cool stuff that we see there. No doubt about it.
a lot of lightning earphones.
Yeah, that's a lot of those.
No, that's so true.
All right, well, you can see the whole review at digitaltrends.com/IFA, IFA, and so the awards are there and all the articles you can check out. All right, the final thing, because this has seemed to become a theme where it's some new Chinese technology that we end the show with now. It's gone from drones to Chinese technology. This is the latest announcement that China has come up with, and it's from a group called Guangqi Science. I'm probably saying it wrong. I guarantee I'm saying it wrong. But they have unveiled plans for a $1.5 billion theme park and the one of the attributes of this, one of the things they're going to have is a high altitude balloon ride you can take that will take you 15 miles up onto the verge of space.
Oh my God.
And this is going to be a ride you can take at the theme park.
Who's going to be the first one to try
at
that?
the theme park? It's going to be part of the theme park.
Like quotations. How is that part of the theme park if you're that high up? Like,
Well, yeah, that's true.
is the world spinning beneath you and then you're no longer at the theme park? Like,
Yeah,
how's that work?
good point. they don't go into the detail on that part.
They also don't mention that they drop you off in Kansas.
Yeah, exactly.
After
That's
taking
what I'm
off
wondering.
in China.
Once you get into orbit there, or like,
They're a free ticket.
There may or may not be a tornado involved with your landing. I'm
you
sorry.
may not be
It
at
is the
theme park
Midwest.
You may not make
anymore.
it.
Right.
I'm down.
That's
Sign me
incredible.
up.
Yeah. You'll do
Sign
it?
me right up.
Would you be the first one to go?
Sure.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah,
On the
I'd totally
test?
do it. I wouldn't even hesitate. Look, if the rocket thing were within my grasp, like if I was wealthy enough to be able to be on one of these shuttles that's going to go into space, then I would definitely do that. But a balloon seems a lot more attainable. I mean, I hope it's less
I'm
expensive.
gonna
Can you
say
just
this.
use like 2 tickets to get on? Like a
It
Bobby's
is
at the gate?
expensive. It's going to
What's
be
the
part of
price?
the theme
Price.
park.
But
How much is the bracelet?
$75,000. So that is
that's
how much-
actually way more, like you said, attainable than like the $500,000 that like Virgin wants you to pay to go to low Earth orbit,
or the
whatever they're
Russians
going.
are like $2 million or
Yeah,
something if you want to
right,
go
right.
up. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a cheaper ride than that, but it's still $75,000. But that's
Do you
a
think
lot
we could
more
expense
doable for
one?
a lot of people.
Well, how much are you
Ooh.
supposed to spend on your engagement ring? Like how many times your salary or something like
4
that?
months rent or something.
7 years.
4 months rent?
That is the dumbest idea.
What kind of metrics
right? Yeah.
do we use these days? Your wife-to-be is worth exactly this much
Yeah.
of your income.
Let me see your mortgage statement.
Mean, I would save up for that. I would do it, man. That sounds just like amazing.
When does
Or
this- when
I'll
does
build
this
my
open?
own balloon and do it myself.
I
you
don't
know?
even trust the
feel like you
carnival
should trust
rides
them,
to
maybe.
like
Yeah.
not blow up on me, so I don't trust that.
What's gonna
Like,
blow up?
I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
the cables will fall off.
The hot air balloon. When does it open?
Okay, this is going to be they're planning it. I think for next year is when they're going to start doing. But again, it's very suspect as far as when this will actually happen because it's just like
there's a
they've
lot
got
that
their
could go wrong.
They've got their base at the bottom of the sea that they're going to be having. There's a lot of different claims.
You have to
Nibbler's
sign
future home.
so
I'll be
many
there.
waivers.
You guys can take
Yeah.
the balloon. I'll be at the bottom of the sea in the.
We'll have to
side
be there to
station.
cover the opening and see if they'll
Yeah.
let us take a.
You know what?
Comp ride.
If they're charging that much money, then you better get to ride every ride at that theme park for
Yeah.
free in perpetuity, like forever.
Well,
you
it
get
sounds
lifetime
like
measurement.
actually what they're doing is they're going to be
Membership.
competing with another company, which is Arizona-based Worldview Enterprises, and that's what is setting the $75,000 price tag. Guang Chi is going to compete with that, so it's looking like it's going to be similar to that. So that's where it's coming.
So maybe
from.
try the Arizona one. Is that
maybe
what
try
you're
the
saying?
Arizona one first
Yeah.
before you go to the Chinese one. But I don't know, Caleb. Let's sign you up. I think
Do
you're
it.
due for it. All right.
I feel like we could expense that.
Yeah.
And
All
if
right.
you live, you could write a story about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it'll be a great
If
story.
you
yeah.
live.
I'll write the story on the way up.
You know what? I'll send my GoPro into space, and then
Yeah.
I'll just watch the video.
And start off with, I did something really courageous today. And then that could be your article. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in today. This has been an awesome show, and we really appreciate everybody joining us on YouTube. So we do this show once a week. We do this on every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time where we're live, but then the podcast is up, and you can find that wherever you get podcasts. So download it, share it, tell everybody about it. Tomorrow, we have our show Between the Streams, which is going to be airing at 2 p.m. Pacific time right here at the same place where you're watching this, or you can get the podcast just like that anywhere else where you can get podcasts. And when we talk about entertainment and everything that goes with that, so we definitely want to hear what you guys want to say with that. If you have questions or comments, you can always email podcast@digitaltrends.com and send those in. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week with another episode.
What do you think they did?